I'm Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. This is Florida Natural Farming. This is our food forest. I'm going to look at some fruit trees that have fruit on them, like this jackfruit. This is seedling jackfruit. This is the first time it fruited. It had a couple more fruit on it, but it developed in the winter, and during the drought, I guess it dropped off 2 fruits, but this one's hanging in there. All these marks on it are from the winter, the cold in the winter. We dry farm everything. I have thousands of fruit trees here, more than 200 species of fruit trees alone, and I plant more and more every day. So I'm going to talk about soil tests, and because we had to get a soil test, the state demanded we get a soil test. You know, they're like getting involved in everyone's business here in Florida because they're concerned about the Indian River Lagoon, the nutrient pollution, which is caused by septic systems. The septic system nutrient pollution problem has been going on since the 1950s here in Florida, and still it is not being addressed. Vero Beach is trying to transfer stuff to septic, but there's still a lot of houses on septic. Whole cities in Florida are all on septic. It really surprised me when I discovered this. This is a peach cobbler mango. I just have to give a shout out to peach cobbler. I think it's, of all the trees that we grow, 50 different flavors, I would definitely add peach cobbler to my top 3. It's got some fruit on it. I finally had fruit. We have a tree in the back that has tiny fruit on it. Not a really good mango year this year, but I've been eating about 10 mangoes a day. It was 5, but I've been eating about 10, and I still have a lot. There's still quite a bit of fruit on the trees, and Pineapple Pleasure is also an excellent mango. But peach cobbler, wow, it's just like incredible and seems to be fairly productive, aggressive tree. It's not a dwarf tree by any means. There's a fruiting quaimuk tree, a grafted tree. We have 2 fruiting trees, though our seedling tree has not set fruit in 2 years. It keeps blooming again, but it didn't set any fruit again this year, but it could start blooming again. This appears like this tree looks like it appears like it's trying to bloom some more, but I don't know for sure. This grafted tree, I planted this tree when it was about a little tiny graft about 8 inches long from Excalibur, and just planted it here and never watered it, just walked away. And we used to be biodynamic certified and organic certified, and I had never done a soil test because the soil tests 10 years ago or 9 years ago when we started were all non-biological. Now they do soil tests where they test the biology, but I didn't feel the need to do it. So because we're near the Indian River Lagoon and there's a nutrient pollution problem caused by too many nutrients, caused by septics. They've proven it's the septics, but they're trying to say it's caused by agriculture. Probably a lot of it is agriculture, but most of it's septics around here. The septics are right on the Indian River Lagoon. So it's like you can't really have a confined animal feedlot operation, which is what a septic system city is, and think that it's not going to cause nutrient pollution in the Indian River Lagoon. Just, you can't disconnect that fact. But so the state is like has mandated that all farms need to be monitored for nutrients, and so they monitor how many nutrients, and so they send a state representative from UFL here to go over our farm plan. Basically, I don't write it down anymore because we're not organic certified, but our farm plan is pretty basic. We take zebu manure with hay from our barn because we lock them in at night. And so I give them grass hay. I don't give them any other nutrients. and I clean it out, and then I dump it once a day next to fruit and trees generally. So I do that 365. So it's like little tiny compost piles distributed through over 10 acres from our miniature zebus, which equate, and our donkey, which equates to about 50 pounds of manure a day, per day, which works out to, the state said 90 pounds of nitrogen, but they made a mistake in their calculations. I refigured it, and it was like 45 pounds of nitrogen per day. But you know, it's not an exact science, because the weight of the manure can go up, and we've added a couple little baby calves, so it might be 90 pounds. I don't know. It's, you know, it's not an exact science. I don't weigh it every day, and but they say, let's go by what they said it is. It's 90 pounds of nitrogen per acre per year we're applying. And so the state, you know, they want us to cut our nutrient pollution. This is a diamond mango. I love diamond mangoes. It has big mangoes, and it has little mangoes on it. And this is one of those trees that fruit multiple times a year. This is a sweet tart tree. Sweet tart is also a tree I would add to my top 3 mangoes. If I could only plant 3 mango trees, it would be peach cobbler, sweet tart, and one other tree, maybe orange sherbet. I don't know. Orange sherbet seems to be very good, and seems to have less anthracnose than other varieties. I know a lot of people want me to give recommendations for disease suppressive mangoes, but I found that they all get a level of disease, and trying to grow our own varieties from seed, but you know, that takes several years before they'll fruit to see how they do. So we've only been here 9 years, almost 9 years, and I'm just not comfortable giving out recommendations on what I think is a disease resistant fruit, as all of our mango trees do show a certain level of fungal issues from the nursery started trees. So anyway, the state monitors how much manure we apply, and they were interested in how we do stuff here, but they wanted to make sure we weren't spraying glyphosate on the ditches, and we weren't mowing the ditches, so they wanted cover on the ditches, because there's ditches that run up both sides of our property, because they drained Vero Beach in the 20s, I think it was. This is M4 mango. It's looking good. And but we have a neighbor that built a house in the very back, basically right up against our property line, like 50 feet away. And then they have a driveway that goes in between our property and the neighbor's property to 3 acres in the back. And so what they did is they sprayed glyphosate all along the ditch, and they sprayed it right into our property when we were organic. That's one of the reasons why we are no longer organic certified. It just was causing too much stress. The neighbors spraying our plants with glyphosate and stuff like that. So I said, no, we don't spray. Oh yeah, and you have a fence to keep the cows out, and they can't get near the ditch, and you have lots of cover. I said, but the neighbors are spraying. I said, is that okay? Yeah, that's okay. So they don't monitor everybody. They just monitor people they think are doing it. Livestock, they're after the livestock people. So they think that that's the problem. But, you know, we were well within our limits of what nutrients we could apply, even at 90 pounds of nitrogen. But he wanted to make sure that we didn't have a lot more nitrogen. This is the M4 mango. Look at all the fruit on here. This is that Spondius mombin, the hog plum. I've been doing cuttings of it because I want it everywhere. I'm trying to fill in areas with this, and you just it's very easy to grow from cuttings. You just stick them in the ground basically, and it produces a lot of fruit. It's delicious fruit. I like it, so I want it everywhere. So I said, do we have to get a soils test? I've never done it. Yeah, you have to get a soils test. So you get it from the University of Florida. So they're trying to tell us to, you know, cut down on nutrients and manage your nutrients better. They were okay if the cows could run through the property and we didn't move the manure, that would be okay. But because I moved the manure from big piles, and distribute it evenly throughout the farm, that wasn't okay. Then it needed to be monitored. It didn't make any sense to me, but oh well, nothing seems to make sense to me today. But also, my friend Frank, he has like 3 farms, 2 10 acres and a 5 acre. And he's doing tropical fruit on 2 of them, I believe. I imagine he will do tropical fruit on all 3, but he's got enough doing 2 of them. And part of his property is leased out to somebody with cows. So 5 acres on this 10 acre parcel is leased out to somebody with cows. And then on the other 5 acre, he is doing, like this, weeds and tall grass, and then planting directly in it. That's a cashew, that's a citrus, that's a mango, this is pigeon pea, this is MB. It still has fruit on it. A little bit of fruit. This fruit is sweet. Interesting. I'm trying to leave a little bit of fruit on it because I have people that come by. But the longer the wait, the less fruit is going to be on the MB to try. So, because Frank talked to me, he knew that he had to tell them certain things. So he said he wasn't applying fresh manure. He said he was bringing the manure over there and making a big compost pile. So a big giant pile of manure that he was turning into compost and then spreading it. But that was okay. So a big giant pile is okay, but a bunch of little piles is not. Doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, none of it made sense to me. I just, do what I have to do to stay here and keep our agricultural exemption, to keep our property taxes low, and keep my zebus, because I don't want to be forced out of here. So we sent our soil test in to the UFL, and they do it on nutrients. So mostly what they're looking for is nitrogen and phosphorus. So phosphorus in Florida in a lot of places is always high. They mine phosphorus here, so our phosphorus was a little high. The nitrogen they recommended. So we're already applying 90 pounds of nitrogen per acre, which is, according to them, which I don't think is true, because according to the biodynamic, if you're biodynamic certified, you can only apply 89 pounds of nitrogen per acre per year. So if they say we're applying 90, but they had made a mistake. But I'm just going by their number of what they thought we did. So I'm going by University of Florida, thinking what we are already applying, which was 90 pounds per acre, which was a pound more than biodynamic would allow. So this is what's wrong. So they send their recommendations, and they recommend that we apply 150 pounds more of nitrogen per acre per year. Okay. All right. Let's see. You are coming after us because you're worried about too much nitrogen, and you're recommending we apply 1.5 times more nitrogen per acre per year than we're already applying. This is what's wrong. I mean, does that make sense to anybody? But then they don't even look at any of the biological nitrogen, because that's not measured. So that's what we focus on. 60% of the nitrogen that plants get comes from biological sources, which they don't even look at. So I just want to pull my hair out. If I had a lot of hair, I probably would, but it's just so frustrating. This is that red dragon fruit called Bruni. I just hate ignorance like this. It's just like, it's so institutional ignorance. It's just so crazy that they're worried about the nitrogen pollution to the Indian River Lagoon, but they made us do a soil test and then tell us that we need to apply 150 pounds more of nitrogen per year, per acre, which is total crap, because we don't have problems getting stuff to grow. They also said we had high magnesium and high potassium, which is great because a lot of foods are very low in magnesium, And our soils are generally low in magnesium, but manures contain a high amount of magnesium, and cashews require a large amount of magnesium. They're super magnesium accumulators, like a guanacaste tree is a super nitrogen accumulator, and a banana is a super potassium accumulator. So they require more nitrogen, and therefore the guanacaste is better at nitrogen fixation, creating relationships with biology in order to fixate nitrogen. And the cashew requires more magnesium, and the banana requires more potassium. So I want potassium. Potassium is so easily removed from the soil. It just in Florida sand, it can disappear quickly. So to have a lot of potassium, which they're finding is good for abiotic stress signaling, and magnesium, they're finding people with autism have low magnesium. So there's lots of people that have low magnesium. They're finding that people that have coronary artery disease, it's low magnesium. There's neurological issues, it's low magnesium. All kinds of stuff is connected to low magnesium in our food, and there's a lot of functional medicine doctors are recommending magnesium supplements with vitamin D supplements in combination to rectify the issues. And I find it great. I think it's great that we have plenty of magnesium and potassium, because bananas, they require a lot of potassium in order to grow. So that was good. I don't think the University of Florida cared about that. They were only looking at phosphorus and nitrogen, but the phosphorus you can't really do anything about. Sure, manure has a little bit of phosphorus in it, well, quite a bit probably, but it's already here. It's in the soils. Florida is known to have high phosphorus soils, just like we're known to have high calcium soils. But they also recommend for low phosphorus, is it low phosphorus? I'm trying to think. Anyway, so they recommend we lime our property. The problem with doing the reductionist, conventional agricultural approach to agriculture is when you start adding mined substances or nutrients in a fashion that's out of balance with the system. So in a overabundance of liming agents are going to contain heavy metals. So you're introducing a lot of heavy metals to your system. And if we already have a lot of calcium, we need to unlock the calcium to make it available for the plant. And the way to do that is with biology. So you have to have a connected system. Somebody said the best way for plants to get water is roots. Well, yeah, 1 and 1 is 2, right? I mean, some things we just know, but the best way for a plant to survive naturally is to have a connected system. And the connected system is a living orchard floor and a biodiverse range of plants and non-compacted soil and minor inputs of nutrients every day. So small in natural forms, manures, natural form. But it seems like we could have more cows here, because if they recommended we apply 150 pounds more nitrogen, which is like it would put us 150 pounds of nitrogen per acre per year above what the Biodynamic Association would allow us to apply. There's definitely something wrong with their recommendations if they're so different than what the biodynamic farm plan, or the biodynamic, what is it? The biodynamic recommendations for nitrogen allow. So if it was an exact science, then they would be closer together. The University of Florida would recommend similar to what the biodynamic certifiers recommend. So I just have to think that they really don't know what they're doing. They're just looking at the University of Florida is just looking at the farm system is a reductionist model, much like our pharmaceutical medicine is today, where they take and look at one disease at a time and try to cure that. And so each disease is taken individually rather than looking at the whole effect of diet and stuff like that on disease prevention. So you look at the whole system's approach to plant health and disease prevention in plants. And you have to do that in order to have a fully functional natural system. It's just we are so, I don't know, we went so far astray on our what we think is right that we've really screwed everything up. And now they're looking for what's causing all the problems with the Indian River Lagoon. I think a lot of that has to do with they want the tax dollars from this lot, because I've talked about, you know, we would sell this property. It's not cheap. It's $2.5 million today. Probably next year it's going to be more. That's just the way it is. The zoning is going to change on this to, they have a future vision study of growth, and this area was targeted as one of the areas, and I think it was multifamily units, certain number of three multifamily units per acre, I think is what it was, but I could be wrong. But I know it's a lot more than what is here now. But they also want agricultural centers, so they want it farm-based, basically. So there's a place called Schatz down the road that grows citrus. They grow one type of citrus. They grow it conventionally, and then they buy everything, and they just have a store in there. So it's like a grocery store where they buy everything and pose as a farm store, which is fine. I mean, you can't really grow vegetables here in the winter, so I understand people need to do that. But you're producing one type of citrus, which I don't think anybody that knows anything about chemicals and citrus in Florida and is concerned about their health would not eat or drink any Florida citrus, conventionally grown Florida citrus. They just wouldn't. A lot of the citrus was irrigated with reclaimed water. Reclaimed water is a huge source of forever chemicals, so there's lots of problems with it. That's how Florida Natural is being sued for claiming they're natural when their orange juice contained forever chemicals, which are an unnatural substance due to the way they farm, the inputs they use. So I pay attention to all the inputs. I'm probably the most paranoid grower I know as far as natural and trying to be healthy, because I eat this food. You know, this system has made me a healthier person. So I got some seeds recently. I got the Anonis salzmania. I've grown these before. The rabbits have eaten all my plants. I only had a couple of trees, but they got it. I saw my Alasapo is trying to make a comeback that the rabbits got. My Cupia polyandra tree that the rabbits got. I thought, oh my God, because you can't find them anymore, and the rabbits ate it right down. Certainly I should put chicken wire around it, but I just have too many little trees everywhere. It just would be too much, and then I'd forget to remove it, and then probably the tree would get damaged. But if you have a small yard, definitely you could put chicken wire around your little tree to protect it from rabbits. That's what I would do if I only had a quarter-acre lot or so, but it's too much here. So I got these Amarello gigantea seeds, from Anderson Tropical, and I had bought some other Anonas from them. I got these Annona cariaceae from them. I had bought some Alama seeds, but none of them germinated. I don't think it's the fact that their seeds were no good. I think Llamas have trouble, and a lot of things get eaten by stuff out here in the wilds. There's Annona cariaceae. They seem fine. The squirrels definitely got into my seeds, so I'm going to put the seeds in this pot here, and I just want to look at these seeds first. And I should have had these ready, but I didn't. I don't know if I can open. Maybe I'm not going to plant them right now, but I got some other seeds. I'll do it when I'm done. So I got some more Platonia insignis seeds. This was that special variety. Looks like they gave me 2 nice seeds. We do have this growing already. And then I got some Garcinia magnifolia seeds, 4 of them. I got a lot of Garcinia magnifolias. I got one right here, a little lindero tree. I think I planted about 30 of those. I think Garcinia lindero species lindero is a Garcinia magnifolia. We are a Garcinia farm. It's an achachiro tree. We fruit 8 different types of Garcinias, so I do collect those. So I'm going to plant those seeds in the pots. I noticed that my Garcinia latissima was coming up. Right there. Oh, yes. My friend Ashley down in Jupiter Farms, she's got 15 acres down there, her and her husband. She grows naturally like this. She dry farms. Super nice person. I like when she comes by. And she said, look at my Garcinia. I didn't know what she was talking about because she didn't say which one it was. It was a Garcinia latissima. Because I had planted some Garcinia latissima seeds. Here's another one coming up, I think. This one's not coming up yet. I planted, these are little Inga fuilii. Garcinia latissima seeds out in the just direct sowed, but they didn't pop up. So I thought, well, I'm going to try them again. So I planted some in pots, and there they are. They're doing good. Very good, in fact. So I should look at that achachiro because it's the durian's looking good. I should see this round leaf cacao because it was looking like the bugs were getting it, and it's hanging in there right here, right next to a little Clementino rubino. So this is the round leaf cacao the bugs were trying to get, but I see some new growth on it. Some bugs. There's a little cacao. Here's a little cacao. Cacao does good. We do fruit it. I think we're going to have fruit on our Theobroma cacao trinitoro because it's flowering right now. So I'm hoping it's the second year it's flowered. So I'm hoping this is the year the trinitoro actually sets fruit. It was from that very big variety. People want to know where you can get cacao seeds. You got to buy cacao fruit. So go to Montoso Gardens in Puerto Rico, Montosso, and just buy fruit from them online. And it's not that expensive. One piece of fruit will give you 75 plants. Most of them germinate. So can give you 75 plants. So that's what I would do. I was looking for my little DPI Gold star apple. It's right there. It's looking good. It's finally trying to grow. Finally. That's where I get my cacao. That's where I started getting my cacao. But we're on our 2nd generation of cacao dry farms. We dry farm all of our cacao. I start cacao in compost, so I don't go over this every time, but we make our own compost because we were biodynamic certified. And one of their requirements is you make your own compost and start your seeds in it. So I don't suggest growing seeds in compost, but to start seeds, even mangoes, they're excellent. But mangoes do not like to grow in compost. Strictly compost. Compost is good, but if you try to grow them in compost long term, they'll rot. They just won't do well. And so here's this achachiro. There's quite a bit of fruit. I see little tiny fruits. I see green fruits. I see big fruits. I see yellow fruits pretty much everywhere that I didn't think they were. So that's good. I wish they were ripe. I want to pick them, but I just don't think they're ready yet. So I'm going to wait on that. That's why we started this farm, was for the achachiro. I have this peanut butter fruit tree over here. Was it Bunchosia something? I should know the Latin name, but you Usually after, here it is. It's looking good finally. This is the torch ginger. This is a giant red one. It was like it's totally struggling from the drought, but it seems to be okay. It's finally really getting some size, some clumps to it finally. I love torch ginger. I think it's possibly my favorite ginger there is. Zingiber etlingera. Don't ask me to spell it. Here's our Cedar Bay cherry tree that didn't set fruit in the spring, but now it's got flowers on it again. It rained last night a little bit, or yesterday afternoon. Not a lot, but enough to get everything wet and make it happy. Stuff's looking good. There's a Oscar's giant purple star apple. There's another achacha tree. We have about 500 plus achacha trees. I don't mark them. They're everywhere. I can, if I look, I can see them. I'm trying to get some more planted through here. So our back 5 acres, I'm going to start, I'm going to make it so the cows run through our back 5 acres. I have planted mangoes and seed-grown trees in there. My friend Frank says, they'll eat all your little trees. So I'm not planting any more trees back there. We just needed more space for our zebus because we're keeping the 2 heifers from this year. We just fallen in love with them. We love the miniature zebu. I'm fairly certain that eventually we're going to be forced out of here unless somebody makes this. This is the whole problem. We don't want to be a store, and that's what they want us to be. They want us to have like a store where we sell fruit and vegetables and stuff to the public, because that's how they encourage that. And then I guess they're going to change the zoning so you can have little bungalows here, so you could like have farm rentals, holiday rentals at the farm and stuff like that. So there's lots of potential, upside potential to this property. And we're right basically downtown Vero Beach. Well, it used to be 10 minutes to the beach. Probably takes longer now, but very close, not that far. Where Starbucks is right around the corner of the college. Indian River College is just right next door basically. So it's like, and it's a very nice lot. It's a gorgeous lot, and we have this beautiful food forest growing on it. Here's our citrus. We grow about 14 different types of citrus. Citrus fruits in the winter, or you know, it ripens in the winter, but the fruit lasts on the tree for a year. It takes a year basically for it to ripen. Sometimes the summer fruit will speed up and be ripe. This little fruit will be ripe the same time as this. I thought this was a kumquat, but I don't think it is. They're looking getting kind of big and round, some of them. There's quite a few fruit on this tree. All of our citrus is seed grown. I don't mark anything. I wait for it to fruit, and then I identify the fruit that way after it is produced ripe fruit. There's a little wampy, W-A-M-P-I-I, and then there's also W-A-M-P-I-E. One's pink, one's gold. Here's some of those hog plums that I did cuttings of last year, which I thought were dead, but they all seem to be growing. Just trying to fill in places where there's not a lot of trees, where I have space. Here's another hog plum here that I thought for sure was dead, but it just now started putting leaves out on it. So it was alive. They're so easy, the hog plums. You basically just stick them in the ground. I also think I have trying to think where it was. I have a green sapote, Poyuteri viridis, the green sapote. It's like a better relative of the meme sapote. What is that? Poyuteri americana. What is that? Was that what it is? But I know it's around here somewhere. I think it's right here. Here's a little cashew. I know it's right next to this cashew. So it's right here. And then It could be black sapote though. Right there. But I think maybe it could be green sapote, but it's looking like it might be black sapote. I don't know. You do not know. I don't care. I'll care when it fruits, and then I'll eat it and enjoy it. These are all cassava, of course. There's lots of food here. It's a shame that I wasn't so inclined to really take advantage of all the fruit and abundance that's provided by this farm. There's over 450 bananas here. There's over 100 cashew trees I planted now. I'm going to plant another 100 this year. I got the seeds ready. I was just holding off on planting them until people put orders in for seeds. Yeah, we sell seeds and fruit. We do not sell skywood. Here's some more of that citrus fruit. First year it fruited, it produced a lot of fruit. And I never gave that any inputs. It has some leaf curl on it, and I know that if I put a pile of compost, there's an achacha tree. I know if I put a pile of compost next to it, that the leaf minor will completely go away. Same with this tree. It has a tiny little bit of leaf minor, so I should probably put a pile of compost right there. Too much phosphorus can make leaves look chlorotic. Yeah, that's probably a lot of our yellowing in our citrus that I never gave any compost to. They get sun damage. Same thing happens with the achachiros that you plant in full sun. But when you have all this biology and it's like doing stuff that we don't understand is happening below ground, to enable the plant to grow and prosper and fruit, then adding like something to counteract that probably isn't beneficial. I forget what it was you do for that. I should know. I can't remember everything all the time though. My brain doesn't work well sometimes. I don't worry about that, and people usually don't question phosphorus, but I know that the mango people, they like to apply 0050 on their mangoes. NPK, potassium. We have high potassium, so we don't have to do that. Maybe that's why our mangoes do so well. But raw manure, raw cow manure is very high in potassium, but compost is not high in it because it's easily degraded and disappears from the system. This is our own Garcinia called the Miko, no, not Miko. This is Eric's Sweet Lemon Drop. It's a hybrid, I think between Intermedia and Braziliensis. It could be Gardneriana and Braziliensis. But I don't know exactly for sure, but it has different size leaves and it only flowers once, like most other Garcinias that flower continuously. This is a one and done. Look at our honeybees here. They're like coated this tree. Those are all honeybees. Covering that log. Just can't really see. There's that little Australian mulberry. Little tiny tree. There's an orange Eugenia of some type. Could be the black one or the orange one. I think it's the orange one. You know, the little cherries. I don't really collect Eugenias, but my friend Frank gives me plants of Eugenias, which I fail to remember the names of because I haven't collected them. And I'm looking at this cherry of the Rio Grande and I see a fruit on it. I love cherry of the Rio Grande. So I bought this Eugenia tree before I really perfected my before I curated what I actually like, which was dessert fruit. So that's kind of what I focus on selling, but I do enjoy the little berries while I'm out here. This is a black one usually, but I'm going to pick it now because it's still good red. Got a little seed out of it. It's the world's best. It's just about done. We got so much fruit off this tree. This is kind of the star du jour, the seashore mangosteen female tree. It's a mangosteen, or it's a Garcinia that's dioecious, so you need a female tree in order to get fruit. You don't need a male, it can do it without it. A lot of people think you need both, but no, you only need a male. I mean a female. I'm pretty sure that the unpollinated female fruit will only produce plants that are female. So fruit's getting close on some of these. Just do a quick trip around this tree. I see fruit all the way up. There's little tiny fruits, there's bigger fruits, there's really big fruit. Little fruit next to each other. There's more fruit on here than I thought. Garcinia is just really produce and produce and produce, and they do it without pretty much any help from us, and you can do it in full sun or shade. The New World Garcinias, so the Garcinias from South America and Central America, I found are all monoecious. I don't know any that are dioecious, though I could be wrong. I'm wrong on a lot of stuff, so I'm still learning like you, but I'm just sharing what I've been able to discover. None of my New World Garcinias have been dioecious, but a lot of the Asian varieties of Garcinias are dioecious, meaning you need a female only. That's an Asian variety, so it's dioecious. This is a New World variety, Gardneriana, so it's monoecious. You only need one plant. Nurseries will try to get you to buy more than one plant by saying they're unsure if it's dioecious or monoecious. So you better buy two just to be safe, but I buy two just because one might die usually, or one might get killed by bugs. Unless I know it's a dioecious plant, then I would definitely buy 4. Sometimes I've had 6. Garcinia livingstonii, the African mangosteen, which is also dioecious. You need a female plant. I bought 6, and they were all male plants. It's a little cashew, one of our 100 trees we have growing here. They do quite well, probably from all the magnesium we have. Achachiro. Look at this Garcinia madruna to see if it has any ripe fruit on it. It doesn't, but it has flowers. It's got little fruit. It's got little flowers. Got big fruit. Big fruit. I gave it a pile. When trees produce a lot of fruit, I give it a pile of compost, and generally it'll keep producing fruit if it's a Garcinia. Most of them just continuously fruit. A lot of the varieties, the only one that's fruiting right now that I've noticed hasn't done it, but it's the first year it's held fruit, is the seashore mangosteen. And I know that our male trees, this is a male Humbromiana, and it flowers pretty much randomly throughout the year. So I imagine the seashore mangosteen can do it. I'm going to go look at a male Garcinia livingstonii. I forgot all about this. That has fruit on it, and I've said this before, that the male trees can produce fruit. Here's another male Humbromiana tree. I saw flowers on it just last week, but I don't see any now. Here's a Garcinia livingstonii. Here's a male Garcinia livingstonii that doesn't have any fruit on it. It's not flowering. Here's a female Livingstonii. Fruit's very tart on that tree. So I said that the heat makes the fruit ripen early, and on the Garcinia Livingstonii, and look at this, Luke's Garcinia looks great. Here's a Yaupon holly. Got so much stuff in this food forest, it's crazy. There's citrus, there's sugarcane, there's bananas, there's heliconia, pigeon peas, and I got lots of cashews through here, and there's other Garcinias planted in here. There's little Livingstonii. I know there's one right here, two of them right here. I try to plant 2 Garcinia Livingstonii in a hole so that chances of getting a female out of every planting is greatly enhanced. There's a big female Garcinia Livingstonii, one of our producing trees that had a little flower or a little fruit set on it. And I said it would drop off from the heat, and I see most of it has dropped off, but there is still a couple random fruits, but you can see the little fruit ripened early. That's what'll happen to these. You can start seeing they have seeds in them. I mean, this camera would behave. Little fruit that's gonna ripen, but it had a bunch more fruit on it and it's all dropped off. There's just a few random fruits on here now. In fact, there's a little tiny orange one right here. That's what happens when it's hot. They ripen early and they drop off. They just don't set fruit when it's hot. I think that could be the problem in Arizona, why your male tree doesn't produce any fruit. That's a female tree. Female trees all produce lots of fruit. It's what you want. The fruit off that tree was unpollinated because there's no male near it. Our cacao are looking good. There's achachiro. There's a little Trinitoro cacao. There's some other cacao in here. I have some little jackfruits and stuff in here. Where are they? Where are you? I know they're here. There. They pop right up through the grass. No problem. Right there. The grass doesn't compete with the tree. It can smother little trees, but I found that most of the plants pop right up through it, like this little cacao. No problem. No problemo. There's an achachiro here. There's a big achachiro right there. Is the camera not working? Come on, thing. Nope, it's not. Focus camera. Such problems. Yeah, so here's a big cashew tree. This is only a year old. That cashew tree is huge. I know that this is going to be a major crop here. I love cashew. This actually flowered at under a year old. Look how healthy that is. I gave it a big pile of manure again, or compost. Put a pile of compost next to it. There's rules against applying fresh manure when you sell food, and there's some jackfruits in here. There's some Luke's Garcinia in here. I see a guava over here, but it's too hard to see with all the jungle. But I know there's some jackfruit in here. I saw them. Yeah, I wish I was more inclined to being a store, but I mean, that's the biggest reason why we would sell this, because we're never going to become fruit sellers, and it just seems like a waste. There's so much potential for this spot, and all somebody would have to do is start ordering produce, organic produce, to resell. People resell stuff. That's what they do when you don't have fruit, and then use your own fruit, and you could probably sell plants from all the seeds you grew here. So that's why the price is what it is, even though all this work I did, putting in this huge food forest, making it all self-sustaining, because I don't need to be here for it to grow. We don't water, so that's the biggest detriment, because humans provide plants with water, and then when you don't, they die. But we don't water plants, so we don't have to worry about plants dying. There's a white sapote. And so it's like doesn't require any work, and really you don't need any knowledge. If you didn't know any of the trees, all you'd have to do is go someplace like TFF or reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to tell you what it was. But you really don't need to know anything about the tropical fruit. Eventually you would learn if you had an interest in it. This is a raw sapote. It has fruit on it. It's a grafted tree. It's growing in full shade. I showed this tree recently. It's the first time it's held fruit. It does fruit in the set fruit in the winter, but this is the first time it's held fruit. So it's summer now. I smell the smoke from my neighbors. They like to burn stuff. They don't understand that that's particulate pollution, which causes cognitive decline from polluted air. But once a person's cognitive abilities are damaged, it's hard for them to understand what they do can affect other things. Much like if we put lime all over our soil, it would probably disrupt a lot of stuff and probably cause mitochondria damage due to the heavy metals that are in the mitochondria damage to the fruit trees because of the heavy metals that are in the mined substances. So this is that male Garcinia livingstonii tree. And I said it did produce fruit. Here's the proof. Has some fruit on it. 2 fruits. I think the most this tree has ever produced was 10. This is the first Garcinia livingstonii that I ever produced fruit. And I just thought it was slow to get going. But you can see how much flowers it gets on it. You can see all these little nodes. If the camera was more cooperative, it would show them, because I see lots of little flowers starting. It's a lot like jaboticabas. They grow right off the stem, and they get these little nodes right here, but you can't see it because of the freaking camera. Thank you, camera. It's got a little tiny fruit right here, which is going to drop off. But here's another fruit right here. But I love the smell of the Garcinia flowers, so it's really not a problem. This is that big Inga Vera tree. This is that jackfruit that produced fruit every month this year, except for now it doesn't have any fruit on it. So January, February, March, April, May, and June, I got fruit off this tree. Now it doesn't even have a flower on it. It's going to set, because it lost all its leaves. Look at that little tiny frog. This is why you don't spray copper, people. Because it kills aquatic life and it causes cognitive decline in humans. So we don't spray stuff like that. Mined substances, they're toxic. It is a mined heavy metal, so you don't even need to think that it's going to contribute to heavy metals. And mined substances applied in a overabundant fashion, just like when we take too much of a supplement, it can cause reverse effects of what you're hoping to get. Anyway, I'm Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. I hope you have an excellent day. This is our fruit farm. That's our video on soil tests. This is Florida Natural Farming, and thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Please leave a nice comment. Thanks again.